What is happening, baby? Welcome back to the Huddle Chat Sports Show, presented by yours truly, Dallas Clark, also known as Indo is my Nindo. As y'all know, we're in full swing of season 4 right now, and we're going through all 32 NFL teams and their 2023 drafts, giving the analysis to recap and a draft grade for each team. We finished off the AFC South last week. We're talking the NFC South. And if we're talking about the South, there's nowhere to go else but the dirty South itself. We're going to Atlanta, talking about the Atlanta Falcons and their draft. Of course, we all know the keystone of the draft, Bijan Robinson, and we're going to be getting into that before you even know about it. But first, of course, I got to welcome y'all, and then I got to thank y'all. So thank you so much for tuning in, first of all. But thank you all for all of the support that we've been getting. We're on our push to 100 subscribers on the new channel, and it's been going great. We've been getting lots of views, lots of likes, but we always need more. So if you haven't yet and you like the content, please give your boy a thumb. What do I gotta do to get you to give me a thumbs up? If you got any suggestions, leave it in the comments. Let your boy know what I can do, because I need your thumbs up, please. Thank you. And do yourself a favor. Hit that subscriptions bell and hit the notification bell as well, so you stay notified. So if we aren't talking about your team or your division today, you know exactly the moment that we do. Because once we get done talking to all 32 NFL teams, we're talking about the fantasy football huddle, y'all, the favorite part of the Huddle Chat Sports Show from all the viewers. And we're going to be making our way downtown, walking fast, and getting our asses to our fantasy football drafts. But before we get kicked off on the Atlanta Falcons 2023 NFL draft and our thoughts, we've already welcomed y'all. We've already thanked y'all. But now I gotta invite y'all, as I always do. And if you don't, there's no pressure if you don't. If you do have a problem, please contact 1-800-I-HAVE-A-PROBLEM. But for the rest of us, now's the time that I invite you to smoke them. If you got them, fill up your cup, roll something up, and let's get right into the news. All right, now, as we talk about the Atlanta Falcons 2023 draft class, of course, like I said, you got to kick it off with, hands down, the number 1 running back prospect in this year's draft, the man, Bijan Robinson from the University of Texas. This running back is somebody to absolutely fear. Bijan Robinson, for us fantasy football people out here that are just waiting and ready and salivating at the thought of which rookie am I going to take the chance on this year in my fantasy football draft. Bijan Robinson should be at the top of your list. He does absolutely everything that you want in a running back. I mean, when you look, if you were to look in the running back dictionary of what does the stereotypical physical power running back look like, Bijan Robinson's face would be sitting right there on that page. He's explosive, extremely physical. He loves contact. He reminds me of Saquon Barkley, both in his Penn State days and his early New York Giants days pre-injury, and may honestly be even better than Saquon Barkley. But similar to Saquon Barkley, he's good at catching out of the backfield, but it's not exactly what he loves to do. He's a workhorse running back. He wears defenses down. End of the day, it's impossible to poke holes in the man's games. I'm excited to see him come out week 1 of the NFL Sundays and see what he does. I mean, there's not much more to be said about Bijan Robinson. Bijan is going to be extremely fun to watch and is an instant contender for Rookie of the Year, Offensive Rookie of the Year, all that jazz. Now, moving on into the draft, you got Matthew Bergeron. Now, the only reason I'm good at that name is Tom Bergeron from America's Funniest Videos. If you're old enough to remember that, I just recently the other day, let me tell you about this real quick. I just recently the other day figured out I'm getting old. I'm only 27 years old. Dude at work the other day told me, he said, man, I was talking about the movie Home Alone. He said, man, Home Alone, that's an old-ass movie. How old are you? I said, I'm 27. He said, damn, bro, you're a fossil. Wow, that hits you. Age hits you fast. I mean, I know that I'm not old in any sense of the word, but I'm getting close to 30. And I went from being one of those, just like all of us, I went from being the youngest guy at every job I worked at to being a fossil at work. What the hell? But anyway, Matthew Bergeron out of Syracuse, offensive tackle. He's an NFL ready man. He's 300 plus pounds, 6'5". He's ready to go on Sundays. The great thing about him is he can play inside or outside. There was a lot of conversation when he was coming into the draft among experts on where he was going to play. Is he going to play a left tackle? Is he going to play right tackle where he played most of his career? Or is he going to play where I think he'd be better played as an interior offensive lineman, as a guard? He has the power and the strength to move those big guys inside, those Ndamukong, those Vince Wilforks of the world. He has the strength to move those big burly bodies on the inside in the trenches. And I think that he will have a better career and be a dominant offensive guard once moved to the interior. But like I said, it's great for whatever system he is in. He can plug and play interior, exterior, wherever you need him to go. But ultimately, I think he'd be better used inside. He's going to be in a dominant interior line with a little bit more strength, which he, of course, gains with his man body. It's weird to say a 300-pound man doesn't have his man body yet, but he will get bigger, he will get stronger, and he will be a dominant offensive lineman in the NFL. Now, before we move on to any more picks, we're going to, of course, thank our sponsor, Danklyfe brand. Man, look at that heat right there. The Black Mamba Kobe Bryant tumbler. It keeps your drinks hot, but it keeps them cold at the same time. If you're talking about a frozen margarita, if you're talking about your hot coffee in the morning, no matter what product, hot, cold, in between you want to put in this tumbler, it's good to go. And it's customized, made by Danklyfe Clothing. Danklyfe is going to be our sponsor all through season 4. You see the amazing THC Sports Cup. The Indo is my Nindo. We got a nice collection of tumblers. We're also going to be giving away the Tampa Bay Rays tumbler and many more. As I mentioned before, we're on our push to 100 subscribers. And once we hit 100 subscribers, we'll be doing a large giveaway. A ton of Huddle Chat Sports apparel, a ton of customized sports apparel from Danklyfe brand. Thank you, Danklyfe, for not only sponsoring this video, but sponsoring our giveaway as well. Everybody that is subscribed to the channel between now and 100 subscribers will be getting 2 times entries. You also get an entry if you follow us on Facebook. You also get an entry if you follow us on Twitter. So if you follow on Facebook and Twitter and subscribe right now, if you're not subscribed, that's 4 entries into a giveaway. So you're almost really, I don't want to say guaranteed, but you're guaranteed to at least get a little bit of action in the lottery that will be this giveaway. So please tell a friend and tell a friend to tell a friend about the Huddle Chat Sports Show and Danklyfe brand. Now, getting back into these Atlanta Falcons draft picks, you have edge rusher from Ohio State. Zach Harrison was their 3rd pick in the draft. He's a huge edge rusher, has extremely long arms, big hands, everything you want from an edge rusher. He was one of the most consistent defenders over the last several years for the Ohio State Buckeyes. He's just a pure athlete and has potential to be a day 1 starter. He's extremely flexible no matter what defensive scheme that you put him in. He can work in a blitzing, more pressure approach defense. No matter what defensive scheme you put him in, he can flex his skills very well. He reminds me of what the Colts used to have in DeMarco Hellum, a very consistent defender, very unique play style, and able to get after the quarterback, but also able to stop that run. I'm excited to see this man. And like I said, I think Zach Harrison really has the potential to even be a day 1 starter. I would say that he is their hidden gem, but I think that the true hidden gem for the hot Atlanta Falcons would be Phillips III, their next pick in the draft. Honestly, Clark Phillips fell mostly for his slower 40 time. He's a smaller, undersized cornerback, and typically with those smaller, undersized, a little less weight on them, you expect him to be faster. He had a slow 40 time, which really hurt his draft stock. But honestly, anything measurable in the 40 is hand size, his vertical. And a lot of the measurables were not very impressive for this young man coming into the draft. But when you turn on the tape for Clark, it completely makes you forget about every single measurable that you've heard. The man plays so much bigger than every single measurable that he has. He definitely is a scrappy cornerback. When you turn on the tape, like I said, you see that he is actually one of the best cornerbacks in this year's draft and has a lot of potential, especially with some grooming and with some growing. He's a very tough cornerback, especially for his size. He's got that little man attitude in him, which you love to see. He has an extremely crazy nose for the ball. He's a damn bloodhound out there in the secondary. He played a lot on the outside in defensive schemes when it came to the Pac-10 and their bigger wide receivers. But I honestly think in the NFL, you're going to see him with his size play more of a nickel cornerback, kind of like Kenny Moore from the Indianapolis Colts. You're going to see him slide inside and even become the starting nickel cornerback on this team before you know it. Before we move on to the last pick that I have for the New Orleans Saints, I want to ask you one more time, please drop a like if you like the content, and make sure you subscribe to the channel and hit that notifications bell so that way you can always stay notified whenever some new news is dropping, whenever we talk about your team, because like I said, we're talking about all 32 and we're moving up to the fantasy football draft. So you're going to have heat coming out here on the Huddle Chat Sports Show. So make sure you help me out and help yourself out. Let's help each other grow with our knowledge and experience. Just like the last pick of the draft from Alabama, DeMarco Hellum's safety will be helping out the New Orleans Saints in the future. Honestly, he plays very well, especially considering his later round draft. He's a very imposing player in the secondary. He's one of the bigger secondaries, or one of the bigger safeties that you would see in the safety position. He kind of does lack the top end speed that you would like to see in your safety. He was great at stopping tight ends and running backs on underneath routes, but he did get burned a lot downfield, supposing to be the safety valve of the defense. Like I said, he does lack that top speed and sometimes gets burned by speedy wide receivers. So I think in the NFL, you're going to see him slide more close to the line of scrimmage, be used more in the run stopping, be used more as an underneath route coverage guy. What he does lack for in athleticism and speed, he makes up for in his energy, his effort, his hustle. He wants it more than the next man, and you see it. He's one of those great pieces in the locker room that you love to see added. And for that reason alone, I know he's going to make the roster, and I think he's going to fight until you're hearing that name on a constant basis on Sunday. I'm extremely excited to see what DeMarco Hellum has for the NFL. Excited to see what DeMarco Hellum has for the Atlanta Falcons down there in the dirty South and what he does in the coming future. All that being said, I really do think the Atlanta Falcons they really made some moves in this draft. The Falcons were a team that was already kind of in the midst of a rebuild. You're looking at what they did, especially with Bijan Robinson. Now, I've heard a lot of argument about like what they did with Cordell Patterson last year, what they did with Tyler Algier last year. The Falcons were one of the most successful rushing teams in the NFL last year, and they did that with good running backs. Now imagine what that Atlanta Falcons team is going to look like with a great running back. I think Bijan Robinson, first of all, it's hard to give them lower than a B because of Bijan Robinson, but I really do think that the Atlanta Falcons deserve at minimum a B plus for their draft. I think they'll have a lot of players that are going to make an immediate impact and a lot of players that are really going to help them down the line. And Bijan Robinson is going to be, I think, the best running back that we have seen in the last few years. Since Jonathan Taylor came out a couple years ago, I don't think there's going to be a running back that we talk about as much as Bijan Robinson. As far as the young running backs, I think he is the running back of the future, and we'll be talking about him a lot, especially when we come to that fantasy football huddle. So make sure, if you haven't yet, you subscribe to the channel so you can know when the fantasy huddle's coming back, because we're all excited about that. But thank you so much for tuning into today's episode. Remember to always keep your chin up and your attitude down. I'll be here for the next episode. We're rounding out the NFC South, and we're getting into all 32 teams. Thank you so much for watching. Y'all have a good one, and I'm the up out of here, baby. Peace out.
Thank you.